What's up, guys? On the fly, the final score. This is our Thursday night update. Hope you guys are doing good. It has been a a wild week for me, at least. So this is like I had to put my truck in the shop today. This is like second time in a month for different things, and now my daughter's car. We had to put that in the shop a couple of weeks ago. Got that back. So now, it seems like when it rains, it pours one thing after another. And but life goes on. We'll be okay. We'll get it straight. Um, yeah. Hope all you guys are doing okay. Some sad news today. And part of the reason I'm wearing this shirt, the Rocky Three shirt, um, Burt Young, who is probably best known in his acting career as Rocky Balboa's brother-in-law, passed away today. Um, he was how old? 1940. So he was 83. Well, was he? Had he turned 83 yet? Yeah. So he was 83. I mean, you hate to, and I made a comment on somebody else's Facebook post about it. You hate to typecast somebody in a role, but man, when you saw him, especially me, because the Rocky series is probably one of my favorites of all time, but you always saw him as Paulie. I mean, no matter what, I think he was some of the films he was in, the Chinatown, The Gambler, The Killer Elite, Convoy, Uncle Joe Shannon, Once Upon a Time in America, The Pope of Greenwich Village, A Summer to Remember, Back to School with Rodney Dangerfield, Last Exit of Brooklyn, Mickey Blue Eyes, Trans America, Win Win, and Bottom of the Ninth in 2019. That was his last. It looked like the last one of there. But yeah, no matter what, even when he played in like Back to School, when I watched that, I was thinking, that's Paulie. That's Paulie. But he played a very different role in Back to School. He was pretty much Roddy Dangerfield's bodyguard instead of being Paulie, that was kind of the all talk and no walk kind of guy. What do you say? I don't sweat you. Um, you, you know, the Rocky 3 movie where he gets arrested, he's jealous of Rocky's success and the fact that Rocky didn't take him along with him. He felt like, um, so he gets the job with Rocky, and of course the Thunder Lips charity fight. He gets in there and cracks Hulk Hogan with a chair. Um, but yeah, man, he he was so, and he was actually a boxer. He was in the Marine Corps, and he boxed regularly, won 32 out of his 34 bouts. So he knew a little bit of something about boxing. But he painted, he wrote. Uh, some of his paintings were actually in the Rocky Balboa movie. That was the last movie he was in. I do remember on the Creed movies, it was kind of weird because he Rocky in the last Creed movie, I think Rocky said Paulie was dead. He went to the graveyard and watched and sat down with Paulie and Adrian. But I don't know why they would kill Paulie off like that. Of course now they'd have no choice. But yeah, Burt Young, rest in peace, and definitely send out prayers and condolences and thoughts to his family and his friends. Uh, I have not looked on Twitter to see what Sylvester Stallone has posted about that, but I'm sure there's a post there about. Let me look and see if he's got anything up here yet, because I know they were pretty close. Um, let's see. So you see, they're going to have Netflix is having a documentary on Sylvester Stallone coming out soon. I don't see anything up here yet, but it shows the last time he posted was on June the 27th, so maybe he hasn't really posted anything. If he hadn't posted anything since then, he's not very active on social media. So Burt Young did it at 83. Paulie, I don't sweat you. Kiss. You guys know how much how big a Kiss fan I am, and this end of the road tour, that's going to be it for Kiss. I have not looked at the countdown lately. Let's see what the countdown says as far as how many days are left. I know there's a lot of people that I know going to these shows. December 2nd, 44 days, 0 hours, 18 minutes, and 40 seconds till the last show at Madison Square Garden. But Paul Stanley comes out today and says the original lineup, having the original lineup together wouldn't make sense. And he was pretty much saying what he's been saying. I mean, come on, guys. You guys are in your 70s. Grow up. Stop taking shots at each other. I mean, and I'm not just talking about Paul. I'm talking about all of them. You formed this band, because they formed in 70. I think they did their first record in 73 or formed in 73. 50 years, no matter if you did or not, 50 years ago, you were a band and you went to the top. There's and each one of those four is a reason why they did. Yeah, I know a lot went on. A lot went on with the Ace and Peter, but one of these days, one of you guys is going to wake up and one of the other ones is going to be gone. And I'm not talking about gone out of the country or what. I'm talking about gone for good. And what's it going to feel like when you can't, I'll apologize. We'll make up for all this stuff we said about each other later on. When they're gone, you're not going to be able to do that. And the more you take shots at each other, the worse it gets. The worse you look like little kids. It looks like something I did when I was in like elementary school, taking shots at each other, like, oh, he's this, he's that. Do I think that they're capable of playing? I mean, I've seen Ace here lately, and I'm not gonna lie to you, it's bad. And Ace is like my favorite member, but it's bad. It's like I don't know what's going on with him. Something is definitely going on with Ace. I don't know what it could be. I don't want to speculate about that, but do I think he could do it? Not a whole show. Not a whole Kiss show. Peter, I will say this. Peter has been the most diplomatic of all of them, I think. He is he's just sitting back and not taking shots at anybody, no matter what Paul. I people are going to say it. I know Ace has said stuff like that, but Paul manages to come out and say something just to get his name back in the news, because he knows that's going to get him, like it got him on Ultimate Classic Rock. He's got to take a shot sometime or another. Be happy, dude. Be happy with what you got going on. Your band that you've had for 50 years, sold millions and millions of records, is getting ready to end. I know from the looks of it, you're not too upset about it. So, and you want to do your Soul Station, which is fine and dandy, whatever you want to do, but just go out with where people don't think you're so bitter about everything. Jeez. Anyway, um, what about Mick Mars? Talking about dissension in a band. Mick Mars is, he got, depending on who you ask, he got kicked out or fired or stopped because of his health. Um, he's putting out a solo album. It's supposed to be out, I think they said this month. A long awaited solo album. I don't know if John Zarabi is going to be on that one or not. I've heard that he will. Let's see. Debut solo music arriving this month. So we'll see some music this month. Maybe not a whole album. But did you see where Sharon Osbourne called Nikki Sixx an asshole and said the story that they've been telling for years that Ozzy, all the guys in Motley said it, that Ozzy, and you saw, if you watched The Dirt, you saw it. Ozzy got down. First thing he did was lick somebody's pee off the paved way at a pool where they were at, I think. And then he got down and sniffed ants through a straw. Now, this story has been told, gosh, I think 20, 30 years I've been hearing this story told by Motley Crue. So now all of a sudden, Sharon says it's a lie. It never happened, and Nikki Sixx is an asshole. So I'm like, why all of a sudden, why now do you come out? Don't tell me you haven't heard it before now, because I know you have. If I've heard it, I know Sharon's heard it. Why do you come out now? Let's see, Sharon Osbourne blast asshole Nikki Sixx. Let's see what she says. I was not there, thank God, Sharon noted. I used to try and stay away from Motley when they were the Osbournes. So evidently, all I know is that I think it made their movie. Wow. And I want to know why. Now we're on the subject of why, when they advertise a movie on Netflix, it's a picture of a guy imitating Ozzy. Why isn't the ad campaign a picture of Motley Crue? And Jack said, I know the answer to that because Ozzy Osbourne was bigger than Motley Crue. Well, yeah, Ozzy is bigger than Motley Crue, I believe. Did you see Ozzy did a signing event not too long ago? You think Ozzy will come back and ever play a show again? I don't think so. I think if it's as bad as they say it is, and I don't think he'll do it. He may do another album. Wolfgang Van Halen gets married to a song that his late dad, the great Eddie Van Halen, wrote for him. I think that was a 316 song. Yeah, the instrumental 316, which was a short piece for his date of birth, which was March 16th, 1991. What else is going on, guys? Traveling Wilburys. Any Traveling Wilburys fans out there? 35 years ago, the Traveling Wilburys come out. I was a fan. I'm sorry. What was it? What was the name of that song? And I'm playing it in my head right now. It's on the tip of my tongue right now. Handle Me With Care. Traveling Wilburys. Tom Petty. How many of those are left now? Is Jeff Lynne the only one left? I think so. Tom Petty's gone. George Harrison's gone. Roy Orbison's gone. I don't know. I can't remember who the other one was. I know Jeff Lynne was the one. Oh, gosh, who was the other guy? All right. I was trying to do it without Googling, but you got to Google sometimes. Okay. Here we go. Good Lord, there's a lot of members. Jeff Lynne, Tom Petty, Roy Orbison, Bob Dylan. Bob Dylan's album. Yeah. Yeah, what's up? Not a big fan of Bob Dylan. Not a big fan of Bob Dylan. If you are, that's totally up to you. But there's a lot of past members up here, though. And it looks like a lot of family members. Roy Orbison Jr. was one. Alex Orbison. I guess Donnie Harrison is George Harrison's kinfolk. 35 years ago, dude. That's a long time. Getting old. By the way, thank you to everybody that sent me birthday wishes on my birthday, which is this past Monday. I'm officially AARP product now, 50 years old. Everybody, I wish I had $1 for everybody that wished me happy birthday and told me now you're gonna get AARP stuff. And I mean, I already had it. I got something from the last Friday before I turned 50. But 50 years old ain't so bad. It has been a rough year, though. This has been a rough year. So, before we get into the sports part, if you heard the update the other day, I made a trip last Saturday to a record store. Excuse me. I feel like I got to sneeze. To a record store. And the closest one here, everybody if you've watched this before, I live in a very small town, very rural area. And the closest record store up until this one was in Wilson, which is over an hour away. I think it's over an hour. Been there before, but now we've got one. My wife my wife has a camper at a campground in Williamston, North Carolina. And we go up there, and I found out there was a record shop that had opened up in June. So we checked it out, me and my wife and my daughter, and great selection there, guys. Guy's name is Dallas Dawes, and the Dallas is just what you think. He's named after the Cowboys, and he's got to be a Cowboys fan if he's got a name like Dallas anyway. But yeah, he was great. Had a good conversation with him in there. Bought some vinyl. Actually found this, and I think if you didn't guys didn't see it the other night, I'm proud of that. Kiss fan, the rare seeing Creatures of the Night unmasked cover, which is on cassette. If you don't remember what a cassette was, you guys don't know, a tape player or whatever. And this is in good shape right here. I don't know how much it would be worth. It was just rare. I've never seen, or it's been a long time since I've seen that cover on vinyl, CD, or cassette. It had to be when I was in my 20s or something like that, when the last time I saw something like that. But like I said, we don't have a record shop around here too much. But yeah, check it out. Everybody's Record Shop in Williamson, North Carolina. It's at 101 West Main Street, Unit B. You can find them on Instagram. You can find them on Facebook at Everybody's Record Shop. But give them if you're in that area or you're close by that area, you want to check him out. He's got a great selection. Always adding to it. I need to get him on here. We had a good discussion, some good discussion about Kiss and Van Halen. And he's definitely very, very has very much music knowledge. I was impressed. And he says he's not in it for the money. He's just in it for the music. And I believe it. After talking to him for a little while, I believe that. But yeah, go check him out, guys. He's a good guy. And I got the card there. I'll have to scan that in. I can just share it. Everybody's Record Shop in Williamson, North Carolina. Check them out. NFL week. What is this? Week 7. Yes, week 7, and there's a game going on right now. The Jaguars and the Saints. Let's see what the score is. 7-3 at the end of the first quarter. What you? I just can't get. I can't get into the Amazon Prime games on Thursday night, guys. I just don't see it. I've watched some of them because we have Amazon Prime, but I'm just not. Every time I turn it over there, it's like buffering, and I don't know why. It doesn't buffer anywhere else, but with any of the other stuff I do, it always buffers on Amazon Prime or maybe all the people watching the football games, and it doesn't buffer when I watch Prime any other time. So, um, yeah. Let's talk about our picks for this week. Jaguars and Saints. I definitely had the Jaguars winning that, but Saints, Jaguars a little beat up. I think both of these teams' quarterbacks were beat up. Let's go through Sunday's games. Lions and the Ravens. These are not your dad's Detroit Lions. Detroit Lions 5-1. First time since the early '90s that they've had the best record in the NFL or tied. They are tied for the best record in the NFL after this wild last Sunday. Who would have thought the Jets, the two remaining undefeated teams, would go down and big upsets? The Browns beat the 49ers, of course. Deebo Samuel gets hurt. Christian McCaffrey gets hurt. So, and I have not watched the game. I watched some of it. I missed the part where they said there was some bad calls that went against the 49ers. But a lot of people say that. And a lot of people that aren't 49ers fans are saying that. But anyway, it goes down in the books. Browns knock off the 49ers. And then the Jets knock off the Eagles. What do you do? I mean, did you see Aaron Rodgers out on the field throwing? I mean, that's incredible that he's out there just throwing after what he had happened to him, the surgery he had happened to him. But he was like, don't jump to conclusions. I still have a long ways to go. But Zach Wilson did not do a bad job leading the Jets to that. I mean, he hasn't done since, I'll say this, the Cowboys game was terrible. But after that, it looks like he's kind of grown up. And I don't know. The defense of the Jets have a great defense. That helps a lot. And I know that I'm a Steelers fan. But it was just a weird weekend. No more undefeated teams, so the 72 Dolphins popped a cork of champagne, and they don't have to worry about that for as late in the years they had before. But I got the Lions beating the Ravens. I sure hope so. Lions can put up some points. Ravens do enough to win, but they're not this team that I mean. And I know what people are saying. You're a Steelers fan, you got to hate the Ravens. No, I don't have to hate them. I choose to hate them. But they're not putting up these numbers to make me like everybody else, to make me think this is a Super Bowl contender for the AFC this year. They're doing enough to get by. They're not dominating anybody, and they haven't really played it that good of a schedule yet. I mean, Cincinnati was struggling. They beat Cleveland with a backup quarterback, which Cleveland's backup quarterback beat the 49ers. So, but yeah, it's the Steelers beat them, and I'll admit the Steelers aren't a good team. The fact that they're on top of the AFC North right now baffles me because they're not a good team. Let's go to the next. Falcons and Buccaneers. I got the Buccaneers winning that one. Commanders and Giants. Giants are horrible. Or they do this week though. They played. That was a god awful game last Monday night with them and the Bills. And I honestly thought the Giants were going to find a way to pull it out. The way that whole weekend went with the upsets, I thought this is going to be another upset too. I got Commanders over the Giants. Raiders and Bears. Bears horrible too. Raiders get that win. Bills and Patriots. Whew. Gotta go. I mean, it's no doubt about it. The Bills there at New England. Browns and Colts. Which Browns team's gonna show up? Is Deshaun? Is he? He got cleared to play, but didn't feel comfortable going out on the field for the last 2 or 3 weeks. I don't know. I mean, Colts are banged up. I got Cleveland, I guess. Cleveland's going to let me down to Steelers and Rams. Oh. I'm going to pick the Rams. I got to pick the Rams. I'm going with my head, not with my heart. Cardinals and Seahawks. Seahawks get that win. Packers and Broncos. This is a boring game right here. I got the Packers winning. Sorry, Mark Vick. Chargers and Chiefs. Chargers just had Dallas. And all you Dallas fans can say what you want to. Y'all should have lost that game. Dak is not going to lead you to a Super Bowl. I'm sorry, guys, unless he's holding a clipboard for somebody else. Chargers and Chiefs. Chiefs will win because Taylor Swift will probably be at the game. And the NFL is not going to let the Chiefs lose with Taylor Swift up there watching the game. And then the Monday night game, which should be a good one, Dolphins and Eagles at Philly. Philly coming off a loss. Do they have anything for the high-powered Dolphins offense? I don't know. When you let Zach Wilson do what he did. At Philly, I'm going Philly. Sorry. 49ers and Vikings on Monday night. Got to be the 49ers. They get a bounce-back game. So, let's see. We've got some interesting news here. Mary Lou Retton, you guys remember her. If you're my age, she was the darling of the 1984 Olympics, the gymnastics team. Got a perfect 10. Was on a vault. Was on the Wheaties box. I mean, she was just the darling of everybody with that smile and that bubbly personality she had. She's in the fight of her life right now. And her daughter came out today and said that she suffered a scary setback in her battle with a rare form of pneumonia that has left Retton hospitalized in intensive care this month. Last Wednesday, October 11th, there was announced that Retton was fighting for her life and not able to breathe on her own amid the pneumonia battle. Since then, Retton's family has frequently posted updates regarding their mother's health status, and while her condition seemed to be improving recently, this week provided another challenge. Basically, at the beginning of the week, her daughter was saying, we were going on the up and up. We were so excited, seeing so much progress, and then yesterday we had a pretty scary setback. She's still in ICU, and we're just working through some things as far as her setback goes. She added that yesterday was a better day today, which is great. She's just really exhausted. And guys, let me tell you, anytime I hear that word pneumonia now, as a kid, pneumonia was I was like, okay, that's just like a really, really bad cold. When I hear it now, especially ever since the whole COVID outbreak, there's something different with that. When you hear pneumonia now, you get scared. My dad, before he passed, like the day before he passed, had developed some pneumonia in one of his lungs, and it never got straight. So when you hear pneumonia now, that you take that very, very seriously. But we definitely pray for Mary Lou Retton. She's 55 years old. She's only 5. Well, that can't be right. Oh no. Cannot be right. If she's 55, that means, come on. Yeah, she's 55. So she's only 5 years older than me. So in 1984, she was 16 and getting perfect 10 in the Olympics. And wow, that's awesome. I did not realize. I always thought she was. So is what I know, or either I forgot it once that she was. So maybe I had a chance with Mary Lou if I'd have known. But yeah, we definitely pray for Mary Lou Retton. Hopefully she'll pull out of this and be back as good as new. What else is going on? And wrestling front, you guys know I'm a big wrestling fan. One of the podcasts I listen to, it's called What Happened When. Conrad Thompson, and he brought, years ago, I think they said this was their 7th year now, Tony Schiavone. He brought him out of retirement from wrestling. I think he was a barista. He was pouring coffee at Starbucks, and I think he was doing some play-by-play for baseball for some minor league team in Georgia. But he got him back on the wrestling thing, and now I think Monday, this next Monday, it will be 40 years. Tony Schiavone's anniversary, 40-year anniversary in the wrestling business. He works for AEW now. But this past week they did a watch along of Tony Schiavone's first show on Mid Atlantic Championship Wrestling. That is the voice of my childhood there. He was always, him and David Crockett, Bob Caudle, Johnny Weaver, Jim Ross, when, especially early on with Schiavone and Crockett and Weaver and Caudle, they were like, oh gosh, they were just awesome. And that was, I just soaked it all in. And I was a big fan of the Crockett's back then. Big fan of the Crockett's. And I'll tell you this story. When they started the podcast, they were doing a little thing where they were selling T-shirts for it too. And if you bought a T-shirt, you got a phone call from Schiavone. And I was at a funeral. And when I came out of the funeral, I had a voicemail, and it was Tony Schiavone's voice. I didn't get to talk to him. And I sent a message back. I was like, look, I was in a funeral. Is there any way he can make a call again? Never heard back from him. I knew that was a stretch. But, yeah, Tony Schiavone, 40 years in the wrestling business. And, guys, if you did get a chance to, if you're a wrestling fan, especially – and they don't just talk about the Crockett stuff, but they talk about – they do watch-alongs of like some WWF stuff like that. But give it a chance. Listen to What Happened When with Tony Schiavone and Conrad Thompson. He's getting ready to go into a Hall of Fame. The first time he's gone into, I think it was like the TNT, some kind of Hall of Fame. They made the announcement last week. So well-deserved and just a great, seems to be a great guy. I've never met him before, never got to speak to him. I'd love to get Tony Schiavone on the show. Maybe one day we can get him on. But other than that, that's pretty much it. Look, I am scheduling shows now for On the Fly and the Final Score. We will be working on that. So time to get back into the swing of things. And Warden has been notified, and we're working on ideas. I've got some people with Nicole with Brickshore. We are working on some shows to get scheduled. I got to get back with her. And that's pretty much it, guys. So you got, and Matthew with the Final Score. We'll be hopefully starting that back up next week. So get ready to hear Matthew whine about his Giants. But all right, guys. I don't know how many of you were out there listening tonight. Look like it's kind of a slow night, but hope you guys have a great weekend. And I will be back on probably all through the weekend. We'll be doing some live updates, talking about some things. But you guys have a great rest of your night, and we'll see you next time on The Fly and on the Final Score.